treating it like a threat. And one of the things that can't be attacked is your self-custody Bitcoin. And one of the things that can be attacked is the ETF. You can't be exposed to that. That's my view. It's not a good idea. And by the way, that'll hit MSTR too. It'll probably hit other stuff as well. Friends and enemies, welcome back. Canadian Bitcoiners podcast.
Friends and enemies, welcome to the CBP. Want to be better informed? Listen to Len and Joey. Spots is taken care of right off the top. Oh, Bitcoin and EasyDNS. The media is feeding the slop. It doesn't matter what topics discussed. Quality entertainment and information you can trust.
That's being planned or at least discussed. You know, we're not going to allow people to buy
entertainment and information you can trust. Send the guy some value, boost them with some sats. Bitcoin is a scarcity asset. I mean, it's just a fact. Geopolitical, national, down to the local cloud.
Friends and enemies, welcome back. The mighty CBP Monday night, the flagship. Thanks for being with us as always. My name is Joey. That's Len. Buddy, what is going on over there? How the heck are you?
I'm good. If you notice behind me to my left, I have now the block clock back in working order. So I did a little bit of digging in what happened. So it was just something to do. It was not connecting to the 2.4 gigahertz. Is that what it is? 2.5 gigahertz, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And it was really, so I had to do some rebooting of the router and then forcefully having this connected to the right band on my router. And then sure enough, here we are. It was down for a week or so. Hey, the price gone up a little bit. What the heck's going on? I don't know what the heck. Anyways, how are things?
Great. How are you doing?
What the heck? It was like 104 a second ago. Where do we go to 105? We're pumping. Yeah.
I'm just enjoying life here. What else can you say really about what's going on? I mean, this is going to be a bleak back half of the show.
It's gonna be the front half too. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be an angry front half too. It's just. I'm not sure about you, but there's a lot of anger just circulating in the Bitcoin community.
Yeah, is that true? Okay.
Distrust, and people are upset and disappointed. And you had a lot of people that they were at a conference. They were shilling garbage and. How could you say this has been a wonderful week? It has not been.
It has not been.
Even the weather's been absolutely fucking trash.
Great today. Great weather's great today.
Wow, fuck. It's now June. Thank you. Fucking it's right 6 months from now. We're gonna be in Christmas time.
Let's do the sponsors. EasyDNS, the best place for you to host your content. Mark is your friendly neighborhood registrar. I mean, what is there to say about EasyDNS? I feel like the reads we do don't really do justice to what Mark can bring to the table for you, your business, your website, your blog. We use them obviously, and we've been friends with Mark for a few years now. He's a sponsor of the show, but also him and I are involved in some stuff offline. We have our nice little group chat on Signal that we shoot the shit in, and all these things. But if you're looking for a place to host a domain, to register a domain, Mark is the guy. You can do either one there. We've done both, transferred one and bought, multiple through Mark at this point. Not to mention that if you're a Bitcoin enthusiast, BTC Pay Server, Nostr Relay, all that stuff possible through the virtual private server suite of options. Plus, Len, DomainSure and EasyMail. Like, if you're out there with a website, with a mailing list, whatever, and you have a set of data that you don't want compromised, or you have a mailing list that you don't want people getting spoofed on, you need these services. These are like non-negotiable now, this day and age. They seem to be something that people are not buying if they're not using EasyDNS, because we still have this every week, breakdown of the data breaches on the Access of Easy show. But you don't have to be victim like they are, okay? You don't have to be a victim. You can take control of your online destiny with EasyDNS, and you ought to. You ought to go to easydns.com, use our promo code CBP Media, and get 50% off your first round of buys. You can't beat that. I say this every week, but a lot of guys have promo codes for stuff. It's like 10%, 5%. Like, what's the CoinKite one? God bless MBK, but the CoinKite promo code is it's like fucking a dime. It's a dime off your cold
5 to 10%.
Yeah, it's like nothing. Right? Mark is giving you 50%. 50%. So go take care of that. I know a couple of you guys in the chat are thinking about starting podcasts. This is a good place to get a website. Don't wait. Yeah. Act now, because you'd be surprised how many people are squatting on domains that you thought for sure would be available. They are not. It's a growing business model, a growing passive revenue stream, passive income stream, squatting on domains. So
it still is. And funny enough is that because it's the 50% off the initial purchase, it's advisable of course, this is my opinion. Probably yours too, Joey. Is fucking load up.
Load up, baby.
Right?
Load
Just
up.
you don't go with a half empty shopping cart. You have that thing just overflowing. You're gonna get 50% off.
No.
That makes all
You're not going in with just the tip. I'll tell you that. Who's next?
Bull Bitcoin, buddy. Bull Bitcoin. Look, like I was saying earlier, the price of Bitcoin went up somehow. I don't know what happened, but either way, good time to buy, good time to sell. You could do that with Bull using Lightning on-chain. Fees, I just checked today, super fucking low. So on-chain is still the thing to do, but still you have other options like Lightning, and maybe you want to consolidate your transactions. That's topic for another time. And what you could do with your Bitcoin from Bull Bitcoin, not simply just buy or sell Bitcoin. You could pay some bills, for instance. If you could pick your biller you want to pay and use your Bitcoin to send them and pay, credit card payment, whatever. You can also send money. This is a really cool thing, Joey, where you could just do a email money transfer or just send it to your bank account. Bank account, a lot of other exchanges do that, but money transfer, you can money transfer fiat directly, started from Bitcoin, but goes into fiat money transfer. That's fucking
very
cool.
Cool.
That's
very
why I
cool.
pay with my golf these days is e-transfer. So I might just start trying to send it through Bull Bitcoin.
Love it.
Yeah. And so a lot of different options. Check them out. If you use our code, it's below, and you open up an account, and you can do that not just in Canada, Mexico, Costa Rica, and Europe. But fuck, it's growing, man. Let's see where else is going to go next. Maybe United States, maybe not. We'll see.
Soon enough.
0.25% will be taken off your buy.
No, it's 25% off all the fees. So if you, it's huge. It's 25%. Yeah, it's like a monster number. You can't beat that either. Like, there's no other service who's saying knocking 25% off your fees, buys and sells. If you sign up for Bull with our promo, that is unbeatable. That is unbeatable. You need to be on that.
Agreed.
Yeah. Let's do some boosts. Let's do some
brand
boosts.
new website. It looks really nice. Looks really fancy, and
it does.
Yeah, but before we go anything, let's just do quickly because we have a interview coming up this week.
Yeah, Mike Hobart is going to come on the show. Him and I have been friends on Twitter for it feels like years now, but he's never been on as far as I can tell. I didn't ask him today because he was busy and I was busy when we sorted it out, but I don't think he's ever appeared. He just wrote a book called The Second Renaissance. I ordered it today. It'll be here tomorrow. I'm going to try and blast through as much as I can so we can talk about that. He also said on Twitter today he's a new father, which might come up in conversation. And Mike's a guy who's a good Bitcoiner. He's a veteran, talks in the Bitcoin veterans spaces you might hear sometimes. I think they have a matching podcast as well. And as Boomer's saying in the chat, he can squat 225, which is huge. You need to be able to hit your 225 if you want to be a Bitcoiner, and pretty soon it'll be a requirement to be on this program as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Also today traded shots with Joe Consorti, who's got a new product that's coming to Canada soon. Loans against your home for Bitcoin equity. It's very interesting. Looking forward to talking with him about that. I said on Twitter that I am cautious and I view that at first glance as rather unwise. But Joe is a guy I've listened to for a long time. He was one of the earlier sort of, Bitcoin guys talking about the run up to 100K with, God, I can't remember the guy he was doing the Bitcoin way with. But anyway, there's a lot to talk about in that space. This idea of, using your capital to roll into favorable Bitcoin loans. I don't know. We'll see. Also, Joe, easy 225 bench. He's got a great physique, that guy. I think he competed at some point if he doesn't now. But looking forward to talking to him as well. And then last week we had, oh my God, my memory is drained. Who did I talk to last week? Len, help me out.
I'm at the same thing. Who did you talk to last?
It was Boomer. It was Boomer.
That's right. It was Boomer.
I'm just kidding. Boomer and I had a great conversation about the MSTR / explosion in Bitcoin treasuries, and got a lot of good feedback on that. It's funny. A couple of guys, Boomer, I know, who are terminal users messaged me and said that they thought we had some things right, some things wrong, and the Nat Brunel slander was uncalled for, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it was good discussion. I hope you guys enjoy that. Check that out. We always appreciate Boomer coming on. He's welcome anytime, of course. Yeah.
Okay, so
and me and Len were just talking about maybe taking the summer off of interviews in July and August. So TBD, because it's hard to get guests, and I'm pretty busy, and Len is pretty busy, and Yeah, we'll see. There will be interviews, but they may not be on a regular schedule. Yeah, like they were
All right,
before. So
Boost, White Dog 3200 sats, doesn't give him note, just sends in the sats. I appreciate that.
God bless you, White Dog. Thank you.
God's Death or God's Death, 237 stats. Thank you, gentlemen.
You're welcome.
Wartime 333 sats, and he just does some dynamite. So
why don't we just pre-record the boost session and a section and just replay it every week? It's the same.
No, there's more. Mo BTC Dick 500 sats.
Mo,
for those, thank you. He's a constant contributor.
Yeah.
For those wanting to purchase assets like a home, MSTR and other equities are a great way to secure returns and not have to worry about selling real BTC and going through that emotional process.
Thoughts?
It's all fiat games, and
Mo BTC.
eventually you're gonna have to cash out eventually and buy a Bitcoin. And how are you gonna do that at a later time when they may put up roadblocks to buying Bitcoin? And it's not gonna be easy to buy,
No, but he's talking about the house. Like if you got to lock in outside of Bitcoin to buy a house, but you have to be tied to the Bitcoin, then maybe that's the way.
You got to live somewhere.
Yeah.
You can't live in your Bitcoin. I've said this a few times. And for anybody that wants to purchase a home, all the more power to you, because but
I think MSTR is a decent way to do it, MoBTC, to kind of get at your comment. I think it's a decent way. I love the LARPing from the rent cells who are fucking talking about how owning a house is fiat and Bitcoin's going to outperform. It's just so dumb. It's just so dumb.
There may be
for all these people,
that.
Yeah, but you know what? It's like you said, right? You need a place to live. And stability comes at a cost, okay? You could say, oh, the government might take your house. They might raise your taxes. Yeah, but your landlord, might fucking leave your toilet broken for 2 weeks. Like there's a different level to freedom and stability that you get when you own a home than when you rent. This is undeniable.
There's one thing
for the month-to-month sells, like save me the fucking sob story. Just
I never rented, so I don't know what it's like to be
I lived in a rental when I was a student, obviously, for like 3 years, and there's good and bad. Like it's a different sort of time in your life, and so you don't consider many things difficult. You consider them funny or whatever, but you'd have a hard time convincing me to rent now. I'll tell you that. It'd be very difficult to get me to jump ship.
Funny. About an hour ago, chatting with my lovely wife on the porch, and we're talking with the great exodus from Canada, and we are probably going to rent when we get the hell out of here. And we're not going to.
Because you want to be agile when you land in a different locale. Yeah,
exactly.
Because,
and
that's
ultimately, I want to go from place to place.
Yeah, that's a different story. That's a different story.
It's not a one size fit all approach, and you got to take into context what's a play. And last but not least, we have Business Cat. Don't want to leave Business Cat out. For 10,000 sats, he submits. This is for you, Joey. He said, smoke alarm repair funds. 10,000 sats. I
my wife is a 6-footer. She denies it. She says he's 5'11". She's probably like 6'1". And we were talking about the smoke alarm thing today, actually, because my mother-in-law watches my daughter while I do the show, and my wife is at pottery. And so we were joking about how if something happens while we're gone, or while she's gone, me and my mother-in-law are both going to need to pull up a chair to be able to get to that smoke alarm. Can't just grab it off our flat feet. We should shout out Len's appearance on Your Life, Your Terms. You never even told me you were. It ninja launched on my podcast app the other day.
I do things quietly these days.
You move in real G's move in silence like lasagna.
Yeah, and I want to go back. Can't you just do the Michael Jordan and float on air? And as you're just then you could change the alarm, change the battery, put it back up.
Jump in to catch a football or get a rebound. Different story than trying to hold. Because apparently I didn't know this, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to me either. When you reset a smoke alarm, like when the alarm is going off, it's a false alarm, right? You have to hold that button to reset it, not just press it. What is that? Why would you ever, that thing is fucking loud. If anything, you'd want that button to be like one press and it stops, not hold stop.
It's probably a safety feature, so that way you don't turn it off in case there's a real fire. To actually turn it off, you have to, it's a pain in the ass, but it makes sense to do it like that. So it's probably for legal reasons. It makes sense.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Get the chair or the ladder or do the Jordan jump.
Thanks to Business Cat for that contribution. The fire alarm is still working. I just had to take it out for that sort of brief second there, rip the battery out and rip the cover off. But anyway.
Yeah, and I'm done with my. Yeah, I just want to say one last thing. If you put your, I guess, left arm out, Joey, it almost looks like you're holding that sign. If you kind of like, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like you're the guy that's holding that no jobs without LMA. It's funny the way it's set up. We'll be talking about that, I think.
We sure will. I actually talking about something I said earlier in the chat. Yeah, I've had 2 cold brews. I actually just had another 6-ounce coffee a second ago. I'm getting up earlier and earlier to try and get my workouts in. I'm on the road to a 315-pound bench press. That's gonna by November. That's the plan. 3 wheels. So there we go. Anyway, yeah. Where do you want to start? We got lots of options. Conference, obviously. We got our favorite mayor issuing Bitcoin bonds. Trying to, where do you want to start? We can start anywhere.
Do you want to talk about the conference? I have zero to say about that conference. I'll be honest. The amount of time I sunk into watching anything, it equals to exactly 0 seconds.
Wow.
I didn't give it. I didn't follow anything. Everything I got was after the fact about announcements. I have no idea who was on stage aside from the people that the announcements came out about.
Yeah.
And maybe there's one person in our chat was was on one of the VIP sections.
Twan did a short talk, right? So
other than that,
shout to him, man. Yeah, great shit.
I just I don't care. This thing doesn't excite me at all. Like
I'm gonna watch a few of the speeches. Like Lynn Alden, I like to watch. Saifedean, I like to watch. Saifedean talked about Tether, which is a talk I want to watch. I will probably also watch, against my better judgment, the Mallers keynote, and I don't know. I mean, Saylor obviously took a beating over his comments about self-custody. We talked about that already, I think. So, yeah.
How can he still say to this day, like, it's your money?
Yeah.
Right. When you invest in his company, you're giving him and he's basically giving it to somebody else. So
I don't know.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah.
Whatever.
I just want to know if John in the chat saying that Arthur Hayes spoke as well. I watched Arthur's talk at the gym. Arthur Hayes is a white whale for me on this show. I would love to talk to Arthur Hayes on this show about all sorts of things. He's a guy who just fucking gets it all around and is not afraid to tell you exactly what he thinks. I like that about him quite a bit.
Jack Dorsey was pretty active at the conference this past weekend, and there's
lose your keys on this fucking Bitkey sign.
Bitkey, right? Like what a fucking piece of shit this signing device really is.
I can't believe that.
Right? This thing, it was touting itself to be something, secure, and it's a self-custody Bitcoin. They're saying Bitcoin wallet with an app, hardware, and recovery tools. It's Block is the team that's behind this. Actually, it's the proto team working at Block, if you want to be very specific. Whatever. And so this week they released the new feature, that seedless feature. Holy fuck, what the fuck is seedless? And I'm still amazed that they're saying that this is something that's much more secure. Before we have to go into, we have to discuss what is Bitkeep, because people may not understand what the fuck Bitkeep is. Like, it is a device, about yay big, like maybe a CD size or a video game sized.
It's like mini disc size, I would say, if you remember those. Yeah, something like that. It looks like that anyway. I've not seen one in person, but that's the
same. Yeah, I just saw people take them apart and so forth. And there's no screen on the device. It's just basically it, right? And so the only way to make this function in any way, shape, or form is you got to have an app to communicate with it. And you have to use the native app to do so, the native Bitkeep app. And right away, that's a red flag, right? Like, it's going to be stuff that you have to use your phone. Keep shit off the phone. That's what I would say. But okay, on to the seed listing. What the fuck is it? They say it's a safer way, according to Bitkeep, to store your Bitcoin. I would argue it's a pile of fucking shit.
It's so disappointing to hear this from Dorsey, of all people.
Yes, 100%. And they want to make it easier for you to manage your Bitcoin, because losing your keys is a scary thing. And nobody should be trusted with anything like holding onto your Bitcoin, right? Like, just you give it to somebody else, like Bitkeep, to fuck off, man. So they're saying the 12 or 24 words, it's going to be replaced with a 2 of 3 multi-sig setup where keys are kept in 3 places.
One is yours, one is Block's, and one is the government's. That's fucking multi-sig.
One is protected by the hardware key. And that's accessed through biometric fingerprint on a physical device.
Perfect. That's good. Yeah, great. Does that work when you're sleeping or dead? Pretty sure it does. So that's one problem. Yeah, keep going.
The second is mobile stored in the smartphone app.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's not easy to grab. Yeah.
And the
Easy.
third is the server managed by
And sorry,
block.
how does your phone unlock most of the time these days? Remind me.
It's either going to be a face or
It's
fingerprints.
biometrics. Yeah, it's biometrics. Yeah. So you can get 2 birds in 1 stone there right after you
And the
get
third
wrenched.
third one is a server managed by block. So if you lose one of the first 2 being the actual the device or the app,
Okay, honest question there. Okay,
Mhm.
How many of those signatures do you control? None. The answer is none. Your fingerprint is always available. Your face is always available. Your phone is always available if you have those things. You control none of those keys, not a single one. And that's the problem here, that these guys are talking about. This is 3 different signs or 3 different signatures you need, blah, blah, blah. But no, that's not in your control. None of those are in your control. You're trusting that hardware. You're trusting your phone. Biometrics are not safe. They're not secure. And block has the other one. These are not good options. None of those are good options. And I am so pissed that guys like Marty and Matt at TFTC are pumping this thing and doing giveaways for it. What the fuck is going on out there, man?
Joey,
what is going on?
I'll be honest. If somebody happens to give one to us, and I will be very frank here, I'll film it. I'm gonna fucking burn it. I have a torch. I'll be happy to take to it. It will be a waste of money if anybody wants to send it. I would recommend not, but if you want to, I promise you, I will fucking torch the thing.
It's so hard for me to understand this
because I don't want to use it.
Jack is a guy who, like, should know better, I think. And I've been in this argument with people before about Bitkeep and just like the broader sort of this discussion about designing Bitcoin for maxis or designing Bitcoin for normies. And I think that this is the false dichotomy, normie versus maxi. I think there is designing Bitcoin for people who want to hold their keys and designing Bitcoin for people who don't. And like Bitkeep doesn't serve either community well in that regard, right? The people who don't want to hold their keys are not going to buy a Bitkeep anyway. They're going to buy the ETF. They're going to use, Casa or whatever else, right? One of these companies, which, by the way, like Casa, Unchained, like basically any of these jurisdictionally differentiated human entities that secure keys in multi-sig vaults are better than what Bitkeep is offering. Okay, so that's issue number 1. These are not ideal solutions either, but they are certainly better than what's being offered by Bitkeep. That's the problem. Then on the side of people who want to hold their keys, no one who understands the value of holding their keys is going to use these devices. They're going to use cold cards. They're going to drum up their own private key system. There's all sorts of methods to that madness. And, as I've said before a million times, you owe it to yourself once you get to that level to be what's the best way to put this? To have a secure setup that doesn't require your attention, doesn't require your bandwidth, and just is something that is already done and is never to be worried about again until you want to spend, right? And Bitkeep doesn't serve either side of that argument at all. This is the thing I don't get. And I actually suspect, Len, that Bitkeys are not selling very well, given the number of giveaways, the amount of press they're trying to get, stuff like nonsense, like lose your keys on their booth at the conference. I just don't see it. I don't see these guys gaining a lot of traction. There's just too many better options. Like why if you were going to go get a Bitkeep for ease of use, why not just get a Ledger and use Ledger Recover?
It's on the same level.
Exactly. And I think it's probably a better, like Ledgers are better devices. Like that Ledger Stacks or whatever. Is it secure? I don't know. Does it do shitcoins? Yeah, but at least it's got a fucking screen on it. Like if you're going to go through all this trouble, why not just get something with a screen? Anything. Get a Keystone, get a Jade, get a Ledger, get a whatever. Why would you ever go with a Bitkeep if you were that concerned about like ease of use and convenience? You never would. They're not the top of the list of convenience. They're not the top of the funnel of convenience. They're not the top of the list of security. They're not the top of the list of privacy. They're not the top of the list of anything. So why would you ever use them? It's a shitty product. It is a shitty product. There's no doubt about this.
Let's go through the list, the CBP tier list of the worst to best way to secure
worst
Bitcoin.
To best? Okay.
Worst to best. I'm going to give you a few things. And the first one is not even Bitcoin, but it's the normie way to get exposure to Bitcoin, a Bitcoin ETF. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm throwing that out there. leaving your Bitcoin on an exchange is one.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Bitkey seedless is we just discussed that.
Mm-hmm.
Offline signing device like Cold Card where you properly generate your keys offline.
S tier.
Your own Lightning node and a phone hot wallet. Those are the 6. So we have Bitcoin ETF, keys on exchange or leaving Bitcoin exchange, Bitkey seedless.
Yeah.
Cold Card, Lightning node, hot wallet.
It's Cold Card.
It's the best.
Yeah, and then it's everything else. I mean, there's only
no. Your own Lightning node, I will say, is very, very close because you manage.
In terms of what? In terms of what? Like privacy and security, or ease of use, or what? Like this is Cold Card. Cold Card with Sparrow is easy to use. It's no longer. It's past intimidation. I think
leaving your keys, your Bitcoin on exchange, is the easiest to use, but it's not going to be my S class in terms. It's going to be pretty damn fucking low. So in terms of like what is best for the end user, Cold Card certainly. And you know what? Your own Lightning node is very damn close because you control everything.
Sure.
And it's all yours. Phone hot wallet, I will say, is
pretty bad. I'm with Boomer.
The
ETF is third, probably. Honestly, like
you don't own anything. You just own a fiat representative of that.
But at least you can't get wrenched. At least you can't get socially engineered. At least you can't
You get fucked up the ass fiat style. You may not get wrenched.
I don't know.
Get it some other way.
I just think that's way further out on the curve than some of the stuff we're talking about.
It's not even Bitcoin, my friend.
But it's way further out on the curve than the stuff we're talking about. Way further out.
Well, so the Bitcoin ETFs, it's like the absolute trash of the trash. So leaving on the exchange, personally,
your commitment to ETF hate is admirable and needs to be will be studied by historians, I think.
Well, all roads lead to Len. Leaving your keys on an exchange, I will say, is the equivalent as using one of these Bitkey seedless things.
Okay.
I can't differentiate the two. It seems like they're fucking same to me.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
I'm with you.
And we talk about how bad leaving your Bitcoin on an exchange is. And if we can't separate Bitkey from that, how bad is it? It's
bad.
Fucking terrible.
It's bad. Yeah. I agree. The chat has some comments about this. I won't read them all, but yeah, I where do you come down on stuff like Unchained Capital, right? Like Unchained is headed up by, I think Parker Lewis is the guy behind that operation.
People, they want to have that little bit of comfort by having a multi-sig, and in case they lose it, they could go to somebody. I'm not I prefer passphrases. I think that's a better way of doing it.
Passphrases are great. Everyone should be using at minimum the 12 plus a passphrase. I think that's the minimum level of security. And we had a question we had a question in the chat on Discord, I think a little while ago, about whether or not the passphrase has to be from the BIP. Was it BIP 87, 37, 137?
I answered that question.
The word list. It does not. You can make it whatever you want. Symbols, letters, numbers, whatever. Caps, lowercase, like anything you want that you can remember, that's what you should be using. And like I can't really tell you how important that is, apart from just saying that it should be the minimum requirement. Like every wallet provider should be telling you that you need a passphrase. I think it's so critical, man. So critical.
And time lock, I think, is probably the best way of dealing with things, especially if you have a long-term plan. Just deal with that.
It's more difficult to implement, but it's doable.
Liana is not too bad to use, so maybe I'll do a little video on showing you how it's done. And then if you do that, like you can't touch your Bitcoin until
truly locked. Truly locked.
Yeah, it's a time criteria has to be met.
It's blocks, right? It's everything is measured in blocks for the time limit. So you better fucking hope the mining doesn't somehow collapse.
There's an upward and a downward maximum adjustment, and if somehow it just absolutely tanks, there could be a manual adjustment that could be done. The way I understand it. So that way, in case there's a nuclear war, for instance, and there's just one miner out there that's solar powered that is just hashing away at kilahashes, they could adjust the network to figure this out. Square, we'll keep on the whole block thing, because Square terminals are now going to be enabling.
Just when I thought I was done, they pull me back in.
Do you have any affiliation with? Do you do with anything with Square or no?
I have Square in my portfolio. I DCA into Square block.
Oh, do you? Okay.
XYZ. Yeah, I think they're a good company, broadly speaking. I think the terminals are like underused. I worry that they're having their lunch eaten by Shopify and Toby, I think Toby's a top 5 CEO on the planet and has proven himself to be pretty shrewd when he needs to be. Plus, he's Canadian, which I like. Anyway, story for another time. But the terminals love this. My only question is, what the fuck took 5 years to do that? Like, you're 5 years late. Why would you wait this long to do this?
They're still waiting because it's going to be rolled out next year.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, later this year.
Yeah, the 25. Yeah,
the second half of 2025. So it's for people that are wondering what the fuck we're talking about is they showed off at the Bitcoin conference that you're able to pay using the Square terminals, and they could use Lightning. It shows you a QR code, you scan that, and it just solidifies the fact that Bitcoin is a medium of exchange, regardless of what people like Michael Saylor would have you believe. So with respect to this, is that second half of 2025 is the rollout that's going to be done for merchants, and total everybody having access will be sometime in 2026. And so there's going to be some time that's going to be done before everybody has access to this. I took a look. The settlement is instant when you use Lightning.
Yeah,
which is really cool. As I checked Google, I don't know if this is true or not, but when you use Visa with those Square terminals, it typically takes 1 to 2 business days for settlement to take place with using Visa.
Yeah, that's pretty standard. Yeah.
Also, you could do instant transfers, but there's a fee available for that. So you could bump up yourself in a queue, essentially, like using, it's like Bitcoin, increase your transaction fee, get in the next block. I'm looking at this. It shows off what can be done with Lightning, like instant settlement, cheaper. It's available for a lot of people. Is it going to be used by? No. let's be honest. No, nobody's going to probably use this. That's just a reality. Nobody's using Bitcoin as a medium of exchange. We should, but this isn't the first foray that Block has got into with using or having Bitcoin. They also allow a Bitcoin conversion feature. They rolled this out in 2024, and it was allowing merchants to automatically convert a portion of their daily sales into Bitcoin. Probably nobody uses that as well, but they're at least offering these suite of products that are related to Bitcoin. Cool. Yeah. Let's see how many people use it moving forward. I have doubts that at least in the near future will be used.
The people, like the thing that I don't like about this is that it's just late and it still requires specialized hardware. Like I just went to the Shopify website because I wanted to pull this up. I won't bother putting it on the screen, but I wanted to make sure I didn't see this in a fever dream. Shopify has something called tap to pay on their POS. So if you have a Shopify store, you can just download their app and take payments on your phone. Tap to pay. So like you would tap your phone to pay for something at the store. People can tap their phone on your phone and make a payment. Gift card, credit card, debit card, whatever they have on their Apple Wallet or Google Pay. Simple. And meanwhile, Block, Square, I should say, no, Block still puts you into this chamber where you have to have their hardware. You probably pay a significant fee for that hardware if you're renting it. Plus you pay I'm sure like a provider fee for the Block service and all this stuff. I just don't see it. And then now the Bitcoin on Lightning is fine, but if you're a vendor taking Bitcoin Lightning, Len, like what is it? I hate to say it, but the tax implications of that are significant. Like you're talking about.
It's for the person selling, not for the person accepting it.
Yeah, for sure. It's it is still for the people accepting it. Like there are still implications, because if you accept Bitcoin for your service or good, then you have to pay taxes. And to pay taxes, what do you have to do with the Bitcoin?
Well, presumably you would sell it, but it's not a guarantee.
No, but I'm saying like
if accepting it doesn't mean it's an automatic sell.
No, it's not an automatic
Most
sell.
likely
When you pay your tax bill, you're gonna have to sell some of it, and you have to pay capital gains on the sales to make your tax bill. Like these
do you? If you just accept it,
sure, why not? I'm assuming you do, of course. Why would you not?
The way I assume that it's done is if you accept Bitcoin, say you're the merchant and I'm the so I give you I buy something with Bitcoin on Lightning. You take my Bitcoin, you just have the Bitcoin until you sell that Bitcoin. Until you move that Bitcoin to something else.
Yeah.
Then at that point, it's going to be a taxable event. But until then, it's just you collected revenue.
Yeah.
And so that revenue, if you have to pay taxes on that, because obviously you would
then you have to sell.
But it could come from the other liquidity that you have.
You think you just take it from the cash, but I mean, you have to pay the taxes out of the cash you receive. I get what you're saying.
A higher amount. I mean, I'm just hypothetically, it's not a guaranteed sell. Probably it is a sell, but it's not a forced.
I continue to have a lot of questions about Bitcoin as a everyday medium of exchange, there are going to be other options for this. I think the most obvious one looks something like you have Bitcoin in a wallet that you're willing to give up custody of in order to spend fiat against it day to day, month to month, whatever. And that's the vehicle that ends up being used most frequently by Bitcoiners. I can't imagine people are going to be willing to pay taxes on this stuff because, again, if it becomes so popular, like if it becomes ubiquitous with payments sometime down the line, who knows if it will or not, then some of these services will start to just take shape anyways. And, let's face it, this is not that new. If you look at your bank account and you want to go to the store and spend money off your house, it's what, like 2 clicks, right? You see your HELOC in your banking app, you transfer the money to your debit card and off you go. So I don't see why you wouldn't be able to do something similar with a Bitcoin stack once the banks start getting involved in this, because they're really the hub for fiat, and fiat loans make sense if that's how you want to use your Bitcoin day to day. It doesn't make a lot of sense to spend the Bitcoin, sell it and pay taxes on the gains and whatever, right? I know what you're saying about the cash liquidity, the USD liquidity from other purchases. I think that's a good point, but who knows how this is going to turn out. I just think that we're getting there. Boomer in the chat saying there's going to be tax exemption for de minimis
I was just going to mention.
I don't know.
I wasn't even saying. I'm thinking that it's going to be a broader way, because the way you look at Bitcoin, it's not going to be the same it is forever. Eventually, they're going to make a change into it, and that you could actually start spending it. It makes sense. There's a lot of wealth that's locked up in Bitcoin.
Yeah,
that governments can take advantage of. Could you imagine they would allow you to spend it without any tax gains, capital tax gains?
Yeah, cap gains.
People would start spending it, and then the sales tax would be collected. It's kind of.
Do you think they would start spending it?
Up.
Do you think this is the other thing I'm not convinced about, that the tax is the reason people don't spend?
One reason I'm not spending it.
Is it, or would you just rather like not spend the best money and spend the shitty money?
No, if I have an option, I'd love to continue to spend Bitcoin to show off that it is a medium of exchange. I'll replace it. If I spend,
you're in the SNR camp, spend and replace. Okay.
I'll try to replace as much as I can, but I'd love to use it as much as possible.
That's fair.
And if that's the case, it's a $2 trillion market cap. Now, how much do actually people hold? And I'm not talking about ETFs or corporations, like just actual people like you and I, Joey, just Joe Blows.
Right.
Bro, a few billion worth, right? I would say that's.
I would say, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's, you could unlock that potential to be spent, and then that is money that could be captured in taxation through sales tax and so forth. So
that's a valid point there.
It just makes sense to me. But what the fuck do I know? I'm just in the basement. And
yeah, we don't know anything on this show.
I
financial advice. Anyway,
fully admit this.
Yeah.
So stick on this whole Lightning and Square train, because they also run their own Bitcoin node, and it's called C =. That's C =. And you could see their node if you go to 1ml.com. You could see exactly how many channels they have, how much liquidity they have. And as a few days ago, it was 185 Bitcoin they had in liquidity for their Lightning node. Then as of yesterday, it was 198. Today, it's down to 184. So there's a lot of management that's going on in terms of opening, closing channels.
How are they doing that, you think? The channel management?
I don't know. Don't think it's automatic. I think it's some
You think
guy.
It's manual? That's a lot of work.
Yeah,
it's high stakes work as well.
Yes, I mean that much on the line.
A lot of
you fuck up.
Yeah.
There's no CEO you can call to fix this, and so there's a lot of effort that's being done to manage this. I just assume it's not automatic. Maybe they've managed to program something. What the fuck do I know? And why do I bring up this particular node? Because it's being reported that through routing fees, they were able to generate a return of 9.7% yield on their Bitcoin over the year. So this was all done with managing their own keys too. So it's not like they're giving up their keys to a third party to get this yield. They hold on to their keys when it's respect to this. And this is eye-opening. And a lot of people may wonder, how could I do this? I want to take advantage. I want 10% yield without giving up my keys. It's not the same, because what they're doing is they have a lot of liquidity that's put up in there. They have a lot of traffic going through their node. Look, they have their Square terminals, and I would imagine they're all going initially through their node. A lot of time to manage this. It's a lot more than just say an individual would want to do with time effort, and also locking up Bitcoin, tons and tons of Bitcoin, it becomes essentially a part-time job. So the better way of doing thing, my opinion, is actually get a part-time job rather than doing a part-time job like this and using the proceeds to buy actual Bitcoin. You'll probably be better off in the end. Just my 2 cents. I could be wrong, but that's the way I look at it. This is a cool story. It goes to show if it's done right, you could get a lot of.
Okay.
Get some yield,
let me
jump
in. Let me jump in. Is it, if it's done right, is it replicable outside of something like Square, where they can really drive traffic through their node in a way that not a lot of other people can? Like how
Great
how
question.
else could
Probably not.
Yeah, like that's a nice little business model they have there if they can keep that up.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but it's hard to replicate that. Remember when Lightning nodes first started to proliferate? I mean, they're not really proliferated now, but there's more than a few now. People were always talking about how much money can I make routing, and the answer is nothing, basically. Like you're doing it for free, which is, it's still important work. As the Severance meme goes, the work is mysterious and important, but no one knows what it is.
There's
that's how it
that,
feels on Lightning nodes. Yeah, go ahead.
Because when you do run your own node and you have, like, if you're out and about and you have on your phone your Zeus app that connects to your home Lightning node, you are connecting to your home stack on your home Lightning stack, and you could use that to spend. So you're not using a third party like a wall of Satoshi. You are your own bank, and it's fucking incredible to do that. It's not easy to do, but when you just do that for the first time, it's just like, it's an eye-opening experience where you're able to spend from your own stack that you control your own keys, and it's on Lightning. Really cool stuff, but it's not easy to do.
Do you have any comments on the Wall of Satoshi post about a self-custodial Lightning wallet on your phone that they just tweeted out?
I'm not aware of this. You have to bring me up to speed.
I don't. Len, I don't know much about it. I thought you would, but I forgot. And I think you should look into it. I think you will have something to say about it next week for sure. Seems like it's caught at least a little bit of heat, but it's interesting. I think it's being discussed in one of the group chats. We're in the largest group chat that we're in, not the Discord, but another one on Signal. Yeah.
Am I privy to that one or not? Because
the corn. It's a Corn Lords chat. The Corn Lords.
Okay.
Chat.
There's some branches and stuff. I don't participate in a lot of. And who knows? Maybe
it's
one
the mothership. The mothership has it.
It's the first one. BitAxe. Let's talk about BitAxe.
Sure.
Because we sold a lot of BitAxes. A lot of people use
like a surprising amount and very quickly. Yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome, Decentral. I know we don't have a sponsorship deal anymore, but I wish you guys the best. Enjoy the significant profit you took, because we sure didn't get anything out of that. So I'm glad you guys did. Yeah.
So BitAxe version 2.8 is now available. It just came live in the last few days. May 30th, I think, was when it went out.
Okay.
I'll be very brief because it's not a whole lot to say, but I know there's BitAxe users here that listen and watch us. It's easy to upgrade for those who have never done it. You go to your BitOS website and you do the upgrade from there. And the changes to 2.8 include a few things like historical data, so you can see the hash rate stats that are stored over time, so you can see where things are trending. This apparently was a feature that people wanted. The UI has been improved; it's more cleaner and it's a little bit better to look at. There's some technical improvements, so it's faster performances, and there's improved automatic fan control, and that is to avoid overheating in hot environments. I had a issue with my BitAxe. I came one day and it was just blaring away, like just the fan was going so fast and the hash rate was 0. I was like, what the fuck? I just restarted it and it fixed it. So I'm wondering if that issue was something that I had, and maybe this improved fan control is going to fix it. It does get rather warm where it's located. I work just under this register here. During the wintertime, it's hot air that's coming from my furnace directly over me, which is beautiful. I love it. But I don't think my BitAxe likes it all that much because it's just too fucking warm. But there you go. 2.8 is out there.
While you were doing the story, I updated my BitAxe. So
that's how quick and easy it is to
do. Thank you for that. Yeah, literal piece of cake. Yeah. You don't have to plug it in. Don't have to do anything. Just download the firmware, then select the file from the square beside it, and you're done. That's it. Takes all of 15 seconds. Piece of cake.
Circle. This is the company that's behind the stablecoin USDC. They filed for an IPO We should be doing the same, shouldn't we, Joey? Like,
Everyone's saying this, man. We got IPO. There's money to be made, and I want to get me some of it. CBP IPO coming soon. CBP.V. You can find us on the venture exchange. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll dilute the fuck out of it. Just a heads up.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's not
your shares are going to be fucking worthless by the time we're done with this thing.
It's going to be trillions out there.
Yeah.
So Circle's going to go on it's going to go on the New York Stock Exchange. And it looks like that BlackRock and ARK, we haven't talked about them for quite some time. We probably won't talk about again for quite a long time. But BlackRock, they're contemplating taking a big stake in the company. BlackRock may want to take as much as 10% from this, which is interesting.
Yeah.
And they plan to raise $624 million through this IPO, and that's through the sale of 24 million shares, and the price range between 24 and 26 bucks. So that gives a valuation of around 6 billion based off that. And the expected start date is June 4th, so that's just on Wednesday this week.
Yep.
The IPO was supposed to go live April 1st. Truly a great day to do anything. April 4th, right? But apparently it didn't turn out to be the case because tariffs was in the news. The environment was just not right. So they put this on hold. Also, I'm not sure if you heard about this, but Ripple and Coinbase were trying to purchase Circle before the IPO went live.
I did hear about
and
that.
$4 billion was the number that was being thrown around. Not as much as the current $6 billion potential valuation. So maybe that's why they never ended up getting it. I have zero aspiration of getting this, but USDC, it's very chummy with the US government.
Yeah. That's going to be the stablecoin / CBDC, right? Seems to me like that's a good candidate for all this stuff. Stable is going to drive treasury demand around the world, apparently, or I should say US dollar demand around the world. I think that's probably true. Takes away most of the friction. Digital dollars are going to be in demand everywhere that currencies are weak. So yeah, USDC. I mean, there's a bunch of people who look at stable coins and think, what's so entertaining about this, right? Or what's so like important? It's $1 for $1. But the importance is in, the lack of friction. There's a lot of people who want US dollars who just can't get them. And now they will be able to. And this is going to be very important for US soft power and the currency hegemon going forward. So
did you ever use a stable coin? Have you ever tried one out?
I have not. I would like to, though. I'll be honest. I would like to try it because I think it's, like I said, I think the likelihood of you using a stable coin as your default fiat currency in the next 5 years is 100%. So, I expect that these things will become ubiquitous. Second time I've used that term on the show, but yeah, they will.
It only works if the fees are cheap.
They will be cheap,
right?
Because there's no the benefit isn't in the fee; it's in the demand for the currency. So they don't need the fee anymore. The government will. There is no intermediary.
No, but you're saying for people that in like third world countries that would want to use this because there's no availability to get physical USD. If there's a high fee, it basically erases.
Where's the fee?
Usage.
Where's the fee going to be?
I've tried a stablecoin many years ago. I tried just to see what it's like, and there was a significant like $10 to like buy some USDT.
Oh, I mean, who knows?
Right? It's like
what
the fuck
now?
is?
I don't. So that's
what I don't know.
Now. Yeah,
that's why I looked at it. I was like, how could this be usable? But I don't know if things have changed.
Fees, I don't know, in general trend to zero, right, on this sort of thing. So much the same as I think they do. Because the fact of the matter is, as demand goes up, you don't need the fee to be as high. And maybe
Bitcoin
I'm living in
beg to differ. As demand goes up, then fees go up.
There's a story there too, of course, a little different than the stablecoin, but I take your point.
So that's why I don't know. And if there's a significant fee associated with moving around a stablecoin, then it just defeats the purpose of using it in a country where you're basically hand to mouth. You would just find something else to use.
Yeah.
So I can't speak with any experience here because I just don't know. So like, if anybody knows, feel free to correct me or let me know. But
the only store of value left will be creatine, I think, by the time we're all done with this.
What about GameStop shares? Because they bought up almost.
Do you care?
5...
This is an interesting story. Eh? Like, do you think this is?
No,
It's
that's
not.
all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, me neither. I don't want to talk about it. I think it's stupid. It's like completely irrelevant to me. Ryan Cohen is a fucking con man. Honestly, like how many more things you need to see from this guy? Also, the language he used, like if the thesis is correct, we hope it works out. We'll see how it goes. Like this guy's not serious about Bitcoin. He's pumping his stock.
He's dipping his toes in it.
And what is their treasury value? They put about 500 million in. I think their treasury's 20 billion or something. It's some huge number, I'm pretty sure. So
that's a lot of Breath of the Wilds they sold. Holy fuck.
Yeah, buddy, I'm already hyped up about this. Is the real reason why we're not doing interviews, because as soon as my Switch gets here, I'm getting the Zelda upgrade to graphics. I'm playing Tears of the Kingdom.
Have you looked at the price on like secondhand markets, how much Switch 2 is going for?
I haven't. How much? Don't tell me. Is it 1,000?
I've seen as low as 825.
Yeah.
And as high as 1,200.
With Mario Kart?
Oh, good question.
I have the bundle I got. Yeah, I have the Mario Kart bundle coming. I mean, it might come. Maybe my delivery driver could steal it, I guess, as well. It's always possible. Anything can happen. I'll have to be home that day to make sure the guy doesn't walk off with it. But
yeah. Thursday we're usually busy recording, and so Friday I'll be out golfing. So fuck, man, I gotta get this thing sold by the weekend somehow.
Yeah,
I got 2 coming in.
2
allegedly. I
might know a guy who wants one, and maybe I'll put you guys in touch.
It's not going to be a cost.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, he has to know that.
Yeah. Hey, other consoles that you got your hand on through allegedly
I know.
for a cost. So
I had a great friend that day.
I hooked up a few people because I was able to secure quite a few of those.
Well, someone was able to secure them.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't cost a lot of them too. So I was able to help out folks. And I guess this last story is this guy was not getting helped out.
Are we cruising to 106 here? Do I see your block clock correct? Is that right?
Yeah, it's very close. It's a show pump.
Hey.
So if you want us to stay on for the next 24 hours, so we can boost it to 130.
It's gonna be a fucking marathon. We're gonna get Kanye West on here to say some insane shit like he did about George Bush back in the day. That Kanye West saying George Bush doesn't care about black people next to Mike Myers was an incredible clip and incredible foreshadowing that just none of us knew at the time what was going on in that guy's head. He turned out to be a little wild.
Why can't we do some other Bitcoiners do? Just pop open the book, a book, and just read into the mic.
Yeah. I got a bunch of Bitcoin books I've never read. So
I love how people do that. Anyways, and not talking about Guy Swan. I like Guy Swan. He's a really cool guy.
Yeah.
Some guy posted on X about some scary shit about Treasure. And someone bought what they thought was a Treasure 1 for a very good price. And they got it from one of those resellers like Alibaba. And the problem with the device, it turned out to be a fake. It was a fake book logo.
What do we even say about this, man?
Well,
you can't get anything real on Alibaba. Nothing. Maybe like Huawei phones or Xiaomi
even if
phones.
Even from like other places, like if it's not from the actual company that is selling, like CoinKite, for instance, if you're not buying direct from, it could be a potential problem. For this one, it had a fake bootloader in it, different chips inside that would be in the actual Treasure one. The firmware could not be updated, and worst of all, it does not randomly generate a seed phrase, so it came preloaded. And like I say, it's why I recommend buying direct from the vendor like a CoinKite. And that way you could check to see if the package was tampered with, shit like that. And also CoinKite, their products, it's clear, at least mostly clear. Like you get different colors, but you can still see inside to see if there's any tampering that took place. I like that. That's a good feature to have. So yeah, Treasure is shit to begin with, but buying it like this, it's even worse. Whoever got these, and probably they sold a bunch. Fuck, their Bitcoin's gone.
Tough look. You know, I hate to say it, Len, but this is deserved, is it not?
People are just not.
They're looking for deals, though. Like, come on, you got to know what
they're gonna buy.
Yeah.
Oh, look, there's this Treasure. I see it on Alibaba. I'll buy it, and they just don't understand the implications from doing that. They don't understand that if it's not generating the seeds, it's already there. You can't update shit. Like anything you put in it, somebody else has those same keys, and they can sweep that into their own wallet. Like
NBD.
They just don't
NBD,
understand it.
TTYL, HFSP. Pick your
Well, like this
acronym there.
This is a hot off the press. I have nothing to say about this, but it's just funny. MicroStrategy announced the launch of the Stride STRD is the ticker, a new perpetual preferred stock offering available to institutional investors and select non-institutional investors.
Wait a minute. So what do they have? Strike?
They got so many things, man.
Stride, strategy.
Yeah.
The flywheel turns, man. The flywheel turns.
They're milking this fucking thing as much as possible. And kudos to them.
People are buying the debt. They want the shares. They want the bonds. So
isn't it kind of like they're doing this to try to make the earlier investors money, right? Try to
I don't know. Sailor's
almost like a Ponzi, right?
Sailor took questions on this at the conference a little bit, and like his answers, I get that he doesn't have to be like super forthcoming with what he says, right? He doesn't need to be. He's not in a position where he has to argue with people at this point. The guy's worth, a couple $100 billion, whatever he's worth.
Mm-hmm.
But when I hear him say things like I don't need to publish proof of reserves, like, okay, well, maybe you do, maybe you don't. In my opinion, you probably should. Or at least have an auditor say that you have it, right? If that's an option. Big Four, no problem. KPMG would do it if you asked them, I'm sure, or Deloitte. I also don't love when I hear stuff like, I don't care about the call option holders of the share. I don't care about people who bought the shares recently. I don't care about this, don't care about that. I'm trying to make the shareholders money who are in it for the long haul. I think that's, I don't know if I think that's like necessarily a bad thing, but it tells me that there's at least conversations happening about who's going to potentially lose money on these actions. And if one duration holder can lose money, then you can also lose money. There is no guarantee that any of this stuff works out at the duration that you prefer or they prefer that you prefer when you're buying MSTR. Long-term, NFA, of course, I don't think this is going to be a problem for the company, and I don't think it's going to be a problem for MSTR, and I don't think it's going to be a problem for MSTR shareholders who want to hold for 5 years or 10 years or whatever, because let's face it, the success of this company is tied to the price of Bitcoin. And if you think that the Bitcoin price is going to $1 million, then a company with that much firepower in the treasury is going to have a lot to say about the future of finance. And that's a company you want to have a piece of if that's the game you're into. But I think there's a lot of risk. I said this to Boomer last week too. Sailor, the more he talks, the more crazy he sounds. And the key man risk is not necessarily him dying in a helicopter crash. It's him talking too much over the next 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years, whatever. We'll see how that goes. But, stuff like Bitcoin torque, that's a red flag for me. Bitcoin per share is a new metric of financial vehicles. I think that's bullshit. But hey, what do I know? The price keeps going up. He's made a lot of people fucking filthy rich. I said this on the show before, full disclosure, like I made a small fortune on MSTR last year, and I can't say anything except that whatever he's doing seems to be working for the time being. But the more I hear, the more hesitant and apprehensive I am about the future of the strategy. Not necessarily the stock, but this like new financial metrics all the time. Now, by the way, all of this is out the fucking door when they make it into the S&P 500. Because once you have agnostic flows, you're never looking back.
No, you are. What is the weakest link on this chain here? The success of their company hinges on what?
I guess buying volume, buying demand.
It is 100 dependent on Fidelity and Coinbase successfully holding onto their Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Because if ever that is compromised, their valuation is nil. It's not nil, it's negative, but essentially it's nil. So their success 100% hinges on Fidelity and Coinbase securing their Bitcoin properly.
What do you make of his rationale for not revealing the wallets? It makes him a target for trolls, that it could compromise the security. I don't think I agree with that. Again, you can look at me and Boomer's discussion from last week. I won't drag Len into it now, but I don't think I agree with those things. And he's already a target for trolls. He's already got the online, the counter signal hornets to deal with. You know, it's not just the Bitcoin hive he's got. He's got a lot of people looking at his stock and his character. Not to mention Len, you know, this guy committed a significant accounting fraud in the early aughts. I don't know. I don't think he's doing it again, but like he's always talking about, you know, everyone's watching. If it was if
I wasn't even aware that was the
wrong,
case. I had no
he committed
idea
he did a quick fraud job in the early 2000s. Look it up, MSTR. He was still the CEO then.
So
but
what's the difference between him and Christine Lagarde?
The scarves, I would say. But
if that's the only difference,
that might be where it stops.
There's not much of a difference then.
I just want to add that, like, Len, cover your ears. Coinbase has never been hacked for their Bitcoin. Neither is Fidelity. Not saying it won't happen.
I have never been mugged. I've never been shot. I've never got into a car accident.
But you never know.
Never know. Just because something never happened. And I never got hit by lightning playing golf.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that never happened, but it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It's just every day that it doesn't happen, you're rolling the dice.
Yeah. I think
the chances of you losing is very slim, extremely slim.
I want to hear more. Like I said before, okay? And I said this to Boomer the other night. I want to hear Saylor do some adversarial interviews. And right now he doesn't. He's got everyone wrapped up in this Bitcoin charm, and he ain't fooling me, I don't think. And I think there's a few of us out there who would give him the gears, and he doesn't go on those shows. And there's a reason for that. So I will note that we tried to get Saylor. This show is big enough to get Michael Saylor. If I look at the audio side of our plays, you know, the show has 1 million downloads. We could get Saylor if we wanted. And we haven't been able to get a response from him. Maybe because we're critical, maybe because we're Canadian, maybe because he only goes on shows with 2 million downloads or 3 million downloads. I don't know. But yeah, it's fascinating to see the shows he goes on and the way he carries himself when he's on those programs. You hardly ever see Saylor on panels at conferences. He mostly does keynotes now. I don't know. There's a part of me that says he doesn't have to do any of these things and his time is more valuable than I think and anyone thinks. But
the most valuable thing is your Bitcoin.
That's right. Yeah, I think so. I think so too.
The rest doesn't. It's just
okay. So Tor up in the chat asking if he did talk to or did do debate with Schiff. He may have in the past. I don't think unless I'm missing it. He hasn't done one recently. A debate with.
Does it matter? The guy.
I don't think
it's a medium of exchange.
It's not that It's not about that for me anymore. It's about I want someone to challenge him on his views, because it seems like when he talks about why he thinks certain things, like about the medium of exchange, about the wallet reveals, about the store, like he doesn't have a good understanding of what he's talking about. And that's, you know, it's not good. I don't know if it matters that much, like to the shareholders, maybe not. Like, does Jeff Walton care that he doesn't understand why Bitcoin should be a medium of exchange? Do any of the MSTR True North guys give a shit that he doesn't understand how wallet security works? I don't know, but he, you know, is not talking about it. And I think that the more he talks, the more he outs himself. Honestly, I think that's how I feel. Mr. Saylor, you're welcome to come on this program anytime. I would love to talk to you about this and other things. I do want to talk to him, but I'm not going to beg. I would be interested in hearing his thoughts on these things, and I don't want him going on. I don't want to listen to more Saylor steamrolling content creators because they want the plays. Like, that's what it boils down to. I like a lot of these guys. Don't get me wrong. I've named names before on this show, and I don't think the shows he goes on are making slop or anything. But, you know, I look at a guy like Sed Youngelman, who's had him on. Sed's maybe the best interviewer in the space. Again, like, I'm rehashing some of the stuff me and Boomer talked about last week. Asks thoughtful questions, always well researched, and he does like second order research as well. He's asking questions that are adjacent to the Bitcoin interests, to keep the guests engaged and to kind of throw a curveball in sometimes. And he doesn't get to ask the questions that I'm sure he has ready because Saylor just rolls downhill and then never comes back. It's, you know, he's got a strategy, no pun intended. It's working, and I will just say that I am fascinated with the way he's deploying his time these days.
Let's end this.
Yeah.
I can't believe we talked so much about this fucking stride shit.
Yeah. Well,
Jeez.
I mean, it just leads into other stuff, right? But anyway, yeah, we'll go to the notable stories now. Come back if you're on audio. Through the magic of video and the internet, we will be back in 0 seconds if you're with us live on Monday night. So if not, take care. We'll see you tomorrow.
And don't be a cock.
Well, where do you want to start? Which bleak story should we start with?
The biggest news of the day.
Okay.
Jay Powell. He fucking didn't resign, right?
He didn't resign. I don't think that was news, but yeah, sure. He didn't resign.
Well, that was being tossed around. Out there. People
He didn't talk about rates. He didn't talk about the economy. What did he talk about?
He didn't resign.
Grateful Dead? Yeah, I guess. He was never going to resign. People who say shit like this are retarded. And I was laughing, months ago when someone said unscheduled emergency Fed meeting Monday morning, blah, 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 11 a.m. The Fed schedule is available months in advance. And a lot of Bitcoiners are just completely clueless. I remember that particular one was like egregious for a lot of reasons. Guys like Preston Pish, who is a traditional finance guy first, a Bitcoiner second, tweeting out stuff about emergency Fed meetings. Does he not know you can just look at the Fed schedule? Does he not know you can just ask Grok what the Fed schedule is, and the fucking AI bot will tell you what the schedule is and when those meetings went on the calendar?
I'm surprised he didn't.
Why are you surprised? Everyone is pretending. Everyone is a content slop factory. Everyone is just making shit up. Everyone is trying to get clicks. Everyone wants to be first to the story. How many people were like tweeting out emergency Fed meeting, including guys like fucking Geiger Capital and Real Fly. Zero Hedge is basically the only account that doesn't fucking, tweet nonsense all day long. And everyone else is just fucking trying to get clicks. It's like, it's embarrassing. And this Powell thing, great example. And me and you and Mark were talking about it last night. Like, is there a source for this? No. The answer is no.
Well, Twitter has, or X. It's now devolved into simply engagement.
Because they get paid for it now.
Correct. You're monetarily, you're given some sort of incentive, and now you're monetarily incentivized to do it. So that it's now devolved into this, and you're trying to farm as much engagement as possible, regardless of what you're saying. It doesn't matter. Exactly. At the end of the day, it's how many people, I guess, clicked it or talked about it, retweeted it, or whatever the fuck it's called nowadays. That's it, and that's too bad.
Yeah,
right. That's what X is. But you know what? There's bigger and better things to talk about, like Canada and the amount of people coming here.
Oh my God.
I'm shocked. I'm going to give you a quote. Okay. The quote is, we're going to have fewer temporary foreign workers in Canada.
Yeah.
We're bringing in stricter rules for companies to prove why they can't hire Canadian workers first.
Yeah.
October 2024 by then Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. And now if you compare the numbers of people that are coming to Canada in 2025 versus 2024, we're at a higher clip. 817,000 people have come to Canada so far.
Crazy.
In 2025, including almost 500,000 under work permits, 491,400 to be specific. I naively thought the numbers were going to be reduced after Trudeau mentioned that statement. I thought the number of temporary foreign workers was going to be reduced in terms of like the newcomers coming to Canada under that category.
Never in doubt. Never in doubt.
I beg on my face.
Argued with Ben. Yeah, go ahead.
I thought it just was. I was wrong. I'm amazed, but you know what? The Operation GTFO just proves itself to be the correct course of action.
Yeah,
certainly.
Gotta be ready. Got to be ready.
I can't believe people are, and I gotta give some individuals credit that they want it to somehow rectify. Like, and I give them credit, but you know what? Some things you just can't fight. It just ain't worth it. Just let it be. It's too bad. And it's going to be somebody else's fight. It's not mine.
Yeah. I don't know where we should start. Why don't we start with a couple of headlines related to immigration that I think are important. I told my mother-in-law before the election, and I mentioned it here as well. As I pull up the headlines, I'll just try and delay myself here. But the thing I told her is that you're going to start seeing problems that have been masked or ignored by the media at the behest of the sitting government start to take shape in a way that's impossible to ignore. They will manifest in ways that are too obvious to be written away by headlines. But the attempts will continue. to write them away with headlines, especially in the traditional media. Why? Because we need the people who listen to the traditional media, the boomers, to really be like all in on the garbage. And so there was a story in what paper was it? I think it was the Toronto Sun or something, or maybe it was a CTV headline. I'm just digging through my Twitter feed, but I will find it. And the story was about why kids these days are having trouble finding jobs. And I thought the article and the story and the title and even the picture were like disgraceful.
Is that
Completely
the
disgraceful.
CTV article?
Is that where it was from?
I have it here if you want.
Pull it up. Do you have the oh, I have it here. I'll pull it up.
Is that the one that says
US tariffs.
Students and young people in Ottawa struggling to land summer jobs?
Pull it up or send it to me in the private chat. I'll look at it. I have another version here from CBC.
This is a beauty because it also has audio accompanying it, but we might get flags, so you may want to just put it on.
I'll turn the audio down. I mean, I'm not worried about the audio, to be honest with you. Yeah, this is probably going to be it. So I'll just share this now.
So
This is
the reality is there's people that are struggling to find jobs, not just like young folks, Joey. There's people that just, somebody was on, what the fuck was it called? Vancouver Jobs. This guy was like, I need a job ASAP, willing to do anything. He's urgently looking for any type of work, ready to start immediately. Labor, retail, deliveries, cleaning, warehouse, where the fuck he wants, dishwashing, he'll do it. He's got 9 years of retail customer service and he can't find a job. He's looking for anything.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It's actually nuts. Like, I have not seen this story, but this is not the one I was thinking of, but it doesn't matter. The problem is that if I look at what's being shared and said and people are trying to explain away like what the problems are, I mean, it's all lies, you know? Like, this person who is named Asta Shetty, US tariffs and a growing population to blame for lack of summer jobs for youth.
So one is an external force, one is internal.
What the
force.
fuck? It doesn't matter. It's a lie.
No.
It's a fucking lie. The whole thing is a lie.
The growing population is part of the reason why.
No.
There's more.
And I'll tell you why. I will tell you why. Okay, because this article does not mention immigration or foreign workers. It mentions neither. And if I go to the other data about this same fucking story, okay, there's another chart here. So like, do not give me one of these things is true. I will not accept that as a response anymore.
But it is population though. That they may not say it in the article.
They don't. So they don't say what
they may not say it in the heart.
This is the population growth in Canada. Okay.
Yeah.
Net births. How's net births look there?
Oh, it's here. Like any country.
Zero. It's zero. How's permanent residence look?
Every Western nation's like that.
Okay. How's permanent residence look there? Fucking sky high. How about non-permanent residents? The fucking foreign workers.
That's the big
insane. Now it gets even better. Okay. Because it's one thing to say that every country is doing this. Immigration's ruining every country.
No.
Blah,
every
blah,
country
blah, blah,
has the net birth is going down. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Okay.
Every Western country is having that same problem.
So I will just point out that the Western countries are having problems with net births, but not every Western country is suicidal in its immigration policy. What do I mean by that? Well, let me show you another chart. Okay. Like the stuff we're doing is not going to damage the country for 5 years. It's going to ruin the country for literally 1,000 years. Okay. Like it's 1,000-year issue at this point. And if you think there's going to be any bouncing back from this, I got news for you. There is no bouncing back. There is no bouncing back.
Mr. CBP Joey, what are you going to do to rectify
I'm ready to go.
Situation?
I'm ready to go. I'm agile. I'm ready to go. I'm not worried about it.
That's
but
essentially it.
But not a lot of people are. Here's the OECD chart for population growth. How does that make any fucking sense to anybody? To anybody. Like the OECD is what we're constantly comparing ourselves to. We're the best in the OECD. We have a high, like we're a joke. This is a joke. Okay. Now you could say to me, and you will get this from your liberal friends, family, well, we needed it because there's no one here to do the jobs that people have to do, that we need done. Okay. We need people to come in and work, because if we don't have people coming in to work, then you're not going to be able to get your fruits and vegetables. You're not going to be able to get your, I don't know, whatever the fuck else. And like, that's fine. Okay. But it's not true. Here's what's true. Okay. Since 2022, we've let in, let me check my figures here, 2.5 million people via immigration since March of 2023. Okay, so between March of 2023 and March of 2025, we've added 2.5 million people via immigration. How many jobs, Len?
250,000-ish?
It's on the screen. 260,000. 90% of the people who've come here
those
have no
jobs
job.
you were talking about initially, those ones picking food, they always exist. It's not going to grow. It's not going to disappear.
That's right.
It's a cyclical thing.
Totally
Every
agree.
year we need those folks to come in because for whatever reason, the people here don't want to do it. So somebody has to do it. But it's just the rest that just cannot be absorbed easily when you have highways fucking at their max.
Here's the question.
Then on top of that, you got, if you want to talk about like the 401, for instance, because it's a sticking point for a lot of people. Anybody that has to drive on the east-west corridor of GTA has to use the 401. The 407 was criminally leased away for 99 years and with a fucking lease, a clause in the lease saying they cannot build a competing highway. So now you're forced to go on the 401 and people are coming into the GTA, more and more people. That highway is beyond capacity. Then you have schools beyond capacity, and you have hospitals beyond. It's just we are not able to absorb that many people in a short period of time without seeing the cracks in the system. And those cracks were there before. Now they're just expanding, and now they're fucking humongous gaping holes.
Every crime ring, like I hate to say this because it's like it goes against everything in my fiber to say this out loud every week, okay? But at some point you have to recognize the patterns in crime, in joblessness, in areas of the city that are unlivable, in abrasive communities, all these things, okay? And you have to admit that the people that are coming here are not that bright. They're incompatible with our culture. They're religious zealots. They're whatever, right? They hate women. They hate gays. They hate Jews. They hate whatever, okay? They hate everything. They're like, in some cases, Len, literal cavemen, okay? From the other side of the world. Like I've said before, closer to an uncontacted tribe than a civilized person. And we expect them to come here and deliver GDP. It's not feasible. Now, the thing that really pisses me off, all those things I mentioned piss me off, obviously, but the thing that really pisses me off is when I see shit like this, okay? From McLean's. Keep immigration coming. To compete on a world stage, Canada needs more Canadians and more small cities to house them. No, we fucking don't.
This is the article that was talking that we should go to 100 million by 2100, or that's
100 million by 2100 is the Century Initiative. We're on pace right now for 100 million by 2072.
Now, you see that guy that wrote it?
Yeah.
And I'm shocked. He's a contributor for the Fraser Institute.
Shocking.
I thought the Fraser Institute was a right-wing,
I don't know.
right slanted.
I think this Century Initiative thing has like
I was like, what the
No,
fuck
he's not Fraser. He's Institute for Research on Public Policy in Montreal.
Do some research. Type his name in Google.
Yeah. Like I think this Century Initiative thing is like the most sick, perverted, ruinous, disastrous policy of the last 1,000 years. There's almost nothing worse than imagining 100 million people from the third world coming to Canada in the next 40 years, which is what we're on pace for. It's an unlivable reality.
I don't know.
That's starting to take shape. There's nowhere. Dog crate condos and the boomers. Again, like I'll speak directly to the boomers who don't listen to this show. There's like fucking no one over 60 listening to this show, but the damage you've done is unforgivable. And people my age and younger should hate you with every fiber of their being. They should hate you with the fire and intensity of a billion suns for what you've done to the country. You've ruined it. There's no doubt about it at this point. This country will never be the same, and you are squarely to blame for your lack of attention to detail, your unwillingness to look at information that's not presented to you in neatly packaged, commercial-filled slop format on television, and your unwillingness to give even a little bit back from the lifestyle you think you're entitled to, 3 trips a year, 3,000 square foot house, to your kids, to your children, your spawn, your offspring. You don't think they're entitled to anything else. Not being able to afford a house and seeing them struggle, having them live with you till you're 30 wasn't enough. Not being able to get a good job wasn't enough. Seeing your communities eroded by cultures that are incompatible with modern democratic states, with modern mores and values, was not enough. You just had to use the equity in your house to go on vacation 3 times a year. You know, there's no expression or phrase or group of words that will express the disdain I have for the boomers at this point. Seeing these graphs really puts it into perspective for me in a lot of ways.
Channel that energy somewhere else. Use it as an opportunity to establish roots elsewhere.
I'm fine. Like, you know, if shit goes sideways, like Kenzie and I will be fine. You know, it'll be a pain, but we'll be fine. But a lot of people, Len, like simply will not. If you're a 15-year-old in Canada now, what can you do? You're stuck here probably another 10 years, let's say, before you have the means to go somewhere on your own. What's going to happen in that 10 years? Your life is irreparably damaged. And the other thing, Len, I think you discount this, to be honest with you, the difficulty you will experience trying to uproot and move to a new place at 15 or 25 or even at my age. Like, the thing is not, okay, you just uproot and keep living. It's that you had to spend 2 years, 3 years, time that you only get once moving because somebody fucked your life up without your consent, lied to everyone about it while they were doing it, and cost you time that you only get once on this green earth. That's time you only get once. And that's unforgivable.
Yeah, it sucks.
And all along the way, you were told that every one of these people were the best and brightest, that we had jobs for them, that they were doing stuff the Canadians didn't want to do. They were adding. Diversity was our greatest strength. None of it was true. They're in parks trying to kidnap kids from soccer games. Okay. Recent story from the Toronto media. They're in malls robbing jewelry stores. Recent story from, again, Toronto, Brampton area. They are stealing cars. They are breaking into homes. In Pickering, a 13-year-old kid, you know, whose parents, I don't know their storyline, but if I had to guess, I know where I'd put my chips, okay? Killing elderly people at random. And by the way, tried to do it the night before. Caught on camera at someone's door with a knife the night before. At some point, you have to admit that this is not only a failed experiment, but it's one that's going to affect everything about Canada for the foreseeable future, including, by the way, things like asset prices. The entire real estate market soon, Len, if it's not already, is going to be based entirely, its value is going to be based entirely on its proximity to the outcomes of these failed policies.
What now, going a step further, what happens when things really go sideways? And you have your capital locked up in a bank, how do you take that out? You can't.
It depends on what the banks say. But yeah, it's possible that they make this very difficult. I said on Money Talks last week, I forgot I was even on Money Talks last week. I said on Money Talks last week that people who are not looking at Bitcoin have to start thinking about this now, because it's getting to the point soon where it's going to be too late.
100%. That's why people going after this is what I'm going to say. When you go for shit like MSTR or anything along those lines, it's a yield type thing where you are trying to increase your fiat allocation with hopes of using that to buy something, maybe Bitcoin. And the thought is that there's going to be the possibility or the opportunity to convert that fiat into Bitcoin in the future. If that door closes for whatever reason, or it becomes very difficult to do so, then everything
it's already difficult. It's already difficult, man.
So you're right. Yeah. So people that made 5, 6, 7 figures in the market, good luck buying Bitcoin without having all these spotlights shone on you through the process.
Yeah.
Good luck. That's why you should have done it. If not, you should be doing that. There is no second best. This is it.
Yeah.
Everything else is just setting yourself up for potential failure.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you should not fucking do any of that bullshit. It will just lead you to potential failure.
I think you have a point there. Yeah.
And then once you control your keys, I don't know that we're talking about the rest of the news, but it's tied to the Bitcoin. It gives you so much more flexibility. You can do so much. And you're right. It sucks for people, young people. It sucks for anybody to just
sucks for everybody.
To uproot. But you know what? For me, I'll be honest. I'm trying to make the best of it. I'm trying to make the absolute best of the situation, and I will make the best of it. But my situation, the way it is for me, is not the same as everybody else. Everybody has their own challenges, their own uphill that they have to climb. And mine may not be as steep as others, but fuck, you know what? You got to do something. Everybody's got to do something. At least plan. If you don't execute it for whatever reason, at least you had a plan to begin with. It's better to have a plan than nothing.
Yeah, I agree. You got to be ready. You have to be ready. You are watching the decline of a once great nation. Like it's speeding up. It's speeding up.
It's still, and you know what? It still is in terms of like earning a living. It's even if we said all this, it's hard to pick another country like Canada as good to earn a living, even though it's hard. Like the job market is blah blah blah. Look what we have here. We have no war. There's nobody's going to invade Canada. Not from the south, not from the north, not from east to west. We are safe. Politically, we are safe. The government doesn't collapse every few months. The economy is strong comparatively to other economies. Our currency, we don't fucking like Argentina. They had five different currencies this century. We've had the same one forever.
Yeah.
We have educated population. We have a lot of space, clean air, clean water, a lot of resources we could tap. And there's so much we have here. Still, with all that being said, we talked about Canada is still one of the greatest places to earn a living if you can. There's a lot of where else can you do it? The United States, okay. After that, what's the next one? Canada's pretty damn good.
It's up there for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and if that's the case, like to earn it's fucking.
It's so frustrating. Like, you know, my daughter is never gonna have the same experience I had growing up. I mean, here in Dundas, it's, you know, I'm knocking on wood here. I'm not predicting it will never happen here, but but nothing has happened here yet. Nothing. So, you know, if we're lucky, it lasts another 15 years and my little one gets a great childhood, and then we start to have some real conversations about going. But if I'm not so lucky, then gotta be ready before that, right? It's funny.
The biggest thing is we had an example of what people should do. Yeah. And to me, what happened.
You're talking about Ottawa, the immigration system.
No, what happened in Ottawa 3 years ago. That to me was the turning point of things. You have to take control of what you have. Everything else, you're just risking it. And just don't risk it. It's not fucking worth it. And the immigration problem, I naively thought they were going to reduce the amount.
It's completely disastrous, is it not? Like it's unbelievable what's happening.
I'm very disappointed that this happened. If they reduced the amount of temporary foreign workers and didn't do anything with permanent residents and everything else, I would have been like, okay, this is a step in the right direction, and they're fixing it. But it seems like there's no change in anything. There's no fixing the problem that existed. The Prime Minister acknowledged in October last year there was a problem with the economy, and it was partially due to the amount of people coming in here as foreign workers. It's creating a lot of more people going after the same job. You look at job banks, job fairs, the line of people going out.
Yeah,
fucking incredible. You didn't have this 20 years ago.
No,
but now you do. And then you fucking on top of that, homeless camps, and you have food banks and all this shit. It's a step. It's trending the wrong direction. It's not going to be fixed quickly. It could be slowed down a little bit, but it's too far gone, man. People driving the wrong way in the highways and
crazy. Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Nothing.
You know what you can do? You could build new homeless shelters in the city of Toronto.
Oh God, here we go. That's what the transition. Here we go. The segue.
We should. I like what the city of Toronto is doing here, because they have an initiative to build more homeless shelters. And they are doing one with the strategy of the creation of Black mandated shelters, and it's aimed to provide culturally appropriate services for Black people experiencing homelessness in Toronto. And the initiative acknowledges that Black individuals are overrepresented in the homeless population and seek to address systemic barriers they may face. And so the city of Toronto has gone out there and saying, you could sign up and you could submit your ideas. People that want to do so, you must be an organization that must be Black led. So the majority of staff and board members self-identify as Black focused, mandated, explicitly serving Black communities using Black African centered approaches, and Black serving primarily serves diverse Black communities in Toronto. So yeah,
can there be a diverse Black community? Doesn't sound very diverse to me. Diverse Black community.
They're hoping that the first new shelters could be open sometime between 2027 and 2030. And yeah, the location has not been yet known.
It's retarded. Next story.
I like this one. Enjoy inflation. They say it's 3%. They say it's 2%. They say whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
Property tax bill goes up way higher than that every year. MPs, they give themselves a raise of 4%, I believe, this year, but inflation is 2 or 3%.
Yeah.
MPPs decided to do something else. Granted, they haven't gotten a salary increase since 2009, but the optics are pretty fucked up. In Ontario, the MPPs decided to increase their salary 35%.
Yeah.
And also bring back defined benefit pensions for its members.
That's the big shot, the pension.
Yeah. So at a time where food banks are being used quite a bit, homeless, they're fucking trying to build specific Black homeless shelters. That's how bad things are. They're trying to do that. They raised their salary 35%. Ford, they backed themselves into a corner because the salaries were frozen. It looks like under the McGuinty government.
Yeah.
And then under Wynne, it doesn't change. So the optics were really good to keep it frozen. Ford came in power, 2015-ish? He couldn't have increased the salary then because, look, it looks really bad to increase the salary as soon as he gets in. Yeah. Then COVID hits 2020.
Can't do it in 2020.
So
he won an election in 21, right? I think.
So what's the only time to do it would be now. Okay, yeah. I can see the understanding for all this, but still, the fucking optics are horrendous. The base salary for MPPs are going to go from $116K to $157,000, which comparative to some city councils is kind of in line, but still looks fucking awful.
I'm actually okay with this. It's the pension, I think, that people should be up in arms about. Someone asked me on Twitter, I can't remember who it was. What is the right remuneration for an MPP, and what is the right requirements for a pension? I said on Twitter, I think I come down on 2 terms max for MPPs, and your salary is the same as what you came out of before you were an MPP. So you provide your CRA documentation, and the province pays you as much as you were making before. If you serve 2 terms, then you get a full pension. You can retire after that. I'm happy to do that for people who are MPPs. I think that's fine.
They make a lot more in private than they do in it.
Yeah, whatever. So what? So if I don't want them making more. I want them making the same, and that's fine.
Their salary would be significantly higher.
Some of them, but a lot of them, no. Some of them are teachers, community leaders. I mean, look at a guy like Matt. What the fuck is that guy doing now? You think that guy's making more than he was as an MPP now?
A teacher now makes $120K after 10 or 11 years. So it was higher than the base salary before, but now lowered than a new salary.
I'm okay with that. If you're a teacher making $120K and you want to be an MPP, I mean, let's face it, I'm paying that salary anyways, Len. So whatever. But I don't want to see people getting rich as MPPs if they weren't wealthy before. I don't think that's fair. And I want people to care more about serving, because if you serve well for 8 years, then you can retire at 8 years. If you win when you're 25, you want to retire at 33, I'm okay with that. If you serve good years for the community.
Somebody earning high, almost $1 million a year coming in, and it's happened, and then you're the public dollars have to pay them.
But the thing is, people who make $1 million don't make it in salary. And so if you want to, generally your salary is quite low. And even if you own a business,
you want
your salary is quite
low.
Salary.
Yeah.
I want to know what your salary is. Yeah. I think that's the better way to do it. And I think that the other thing too is people who serve the community for 2 terms and get that full pension, will find themselves looking to impact the community even after they're finished with government. That's the kind of person I want trying to impact the community, not people who are just trying to feather their nest. So yeah, I think there's ways to improve this. I don't know. I like the pay raise though. Optics may be bad, but it's way overdue. It's way overdue. And by the way, 35% for 16 years, not even close to enough. Not even close to enough.
Just the timing and everything, fucking brutal.
Yeah.
But good thing for people out there, if you're a first-time home buyer, if you're looking to buy a home up to $1.5 million, Canada has now passed has issued a new relief for them. GST is no longer going to be applicable for your first buy up to 1.5 million. I don't know how many people this is going to impact. I don't think there's a lot of first-time home buyers out there that are going to really move the market, but
it just adds 15% to the ticket price of the house. You know.
Well,
yeah, the sellers can sell to whoever they want, and because the market is so tight, you know, at least it was, you know, a year ago. I don't know exactly how it is now, but people will often tell you they're first-time home buyers to try and get an advantage over other candidates for the house. And so you could say to someone who writes you a letter, okay, well, you can have the house, but I'm adding 15% to the price because you don't have to pay the GST. Like, it's obvious this is possible, and people can ignore it at their own peril. But like everything, when you incentivize things like this, you just slide the window, right? You slide the you slide that number in somewhere else, that savings. And this is going to be another example of that. It's not that hard to figure this out, I don't think.
I have doubts that it's going to be. Actually, Boom's Dust is saying in the chat, he's saying a 10% down payment, 1.5 million is 150K. Who has that? You're right. But there's a lot of condos out there that are not sold in Toronto downtown that you could get for 500,000. So a $50,000 down payment might be more reasonable, might be more manageable and achievable to get. Mm-hmm. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Price of groceries. Do you want to talk about that at all? Because it's in the title of the show. We should.
Yeah, we could. I mean, the warning from Loblaws that prices are going to go way up thanks to the tariffs. Just a friendly reminder that Prime Minister Carney reduced the tariffs that we were putting on the United States, the reciprocal tariffs, to almost zero. And now the tariffs we're charging are separate from that elbows up campaign and only affecting Canadians. So I'll note once again, okay, to the boomers, goldfish level thinking here from these guys. A year ago, 18 months ago, you were telling us at Thanksgiving, at Christmas, at birthdays, that the reason groceries were so expensive is because these grocery stores were price gouging and that inflation was lower than they were saying and we were getting ripped off. Now, a year and a half later, because Trump is involved, you've completely abandoned all critical thinking skills and prior knowledge. And your stance now is that these same grocery stores who have the perfect excuse to pull competitors' products off the shelves are now only charging more because of tariffs and not because of price gouging. This is like retard levels thinking by these people. And there's no other way to put it. There's no softer words. And even if there was softer language, I wouldn't fucking say it. It's retarded. And you can't help this way of thinking. There's no aligning with this demographic anymore. They don't get it and they don't care. And they're just too stupid to see the gap between last year and now. It's almost unbelievable.
I just want to end it on this one last story. This lady, 96 years old.
Crazy.
At Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, can't find a doctor. The last 5 doctors that she had either moved away or retired. So she had to put a ad in the newspaper in order to find one. And she ended up getting one after doing this. So I'm
glad to hear that.
The length of the measures she had to go through in order to find a primary care doctor. It's funny in a way, sad for her that she had to put an ad in the fucking paper.
What is gonna do you have any opinion, not to drag this out for too much longer, so I don't have to keep my mother-in-law upstairs watching my daughter, but do you have an opinion on like what's going to happen to the demographics of the country in terms of the election once boomers start to need more regular medical care and can't get it? Do you think that that'll be a wake-up call, or do you think that it still won't matter? That they'll talk about the Ford government is making cuts to healthcare. Ford government is stopping hospitals from being built. Ford government is, whatever. it'll be blamed on the provinces, passed down the chain? Or do you think that that'll be a wake up call for the boomers? Because that's when you start talking about life and death, right? Like right now, it's still hypothetical for a lot of them. Boomers are very healthy. You know, at least in people I know, boomers I know are very healthy. And even the older generation than them, like my grandmother's still alive. She's like 94, lives on her own. So, you know, is it only going to hit home when they can't see a doctor and they're in pain for 6 months? Like, when is it going to hit home for them? And when it does that change the way that they vote? Because they voted overwhelmingly for Carney in the last election, right? So
they would have voted for conservatives historically because that's what the old people tend to. So
really, is that right?
Yeah, the boomer or the old
that.
people tended to vote conservative in the past. Now the boomers now, they were a few years ago they were in the working class, like they were still working and everything. And that's
yeah.
That's just everything is shift. I think in 5 years there's going to be a lot of people just unfortunately passing away, and I'm wondering how many people that are just that are citizens of Canada that are just fucking irate. The younger people that they're just, I don't know what's going to happen.
Are you still thinking? If we're dragging this out now, but are you still thinking that that graph I showed you earlier, all those people who came here to work and are temporary, quote unquote temporary, you still think they're not going to get fast tracked to voting status?
No.
Okay.
It's a long process to get
it's
that.
It's a long process now, yeah, for sure.
And I'm not sure how much you could fast track it, and it's not going to. In the best case scenario, they'd be eligible to vote in 2 elections if they go to term. That's best case scenario. But I don't think a lot of them they have to leave, right? Their status is expired. Now, the fact that they leave may not happen. They may decide to stay here for whatever reason.
I think we're all in for a rude awakening on that portfolio. That not only are they not going to leave, but they're going to get fast track citizenship.
The one way you could eventually stay here is there could be a bona fide relationship with somebody, like you get married and it's bona fide marriage, and then they sponsor you, and then that's how it's, that's been done before. It's going to be done again, but it's a lot of women that you have to find that could be, or it doesn't have to be women. It could be anybody these days. It's a lot of partners you have to find that's got to be made it up, and they got to be bona fide relationships. So it's got to prove that.
That's it, everybody.
Military service equals citizenship.
Yeah, maybe. Hey, listen, I'm up for anything, man. But talk about a black pill episode. There's a lot going on that I think you should be concerned about as a Canadian. I think a lot going on.
Are you more angry today than yesterday? Are you more angry yesterday than you were the day before?
I'm about the same, to be honest with you.
Are you?
And and I'll tell you what else. Like I am starting to see in my sort of personal life, significant, like I said this before, significant gaps between people who think everything is fine and people who understand that they have to start preparing, and whether it's Bitcoin or income properties or whatever, right? Like there's a lot of people who understand that there is no one coming to save them and they have to start amassing assets to be agile and have enough firepower in their bank account or Bitcoin wallets, whatever, to make moves when things go sideways. But there's a lot of people still don't think things are going sideways, and it's going to be undeniable soon. And by then, again, like I encourage you guys to go listen to the Money Talks episode I did, because I think I covered it well. But you're getting to the point now where you need to have like at least, I would say at least, honestly, $100,000 worth of Bitcoin, and you got to start doing it now. You have to start fucking piling into it now. Not financial advice. Your situation may vary, your mileage may vary, all that stuff. But like the TFSA thing, I've said this on the show before, was a fucking huge red flag for me. The capital controls proposed in the TFSA will expand your contribution room to $12,000 if you give $5,000 of it to a Canadian company that we pre-approved. That's fucking bad. That is fucking bad.
Keep DCing into Square and into MSTR and all this stuff. Because
I know. I gotta start take my own advice.
It's in the beginning of our show. We have that new theme song that talks.
I know. Of all the things Laughs could have picked out for the fucking sample, he picked out me trashing MSTR. I don't know. Did you pay him for that part? I think this was all psyop to get me to convert.
No, absolutely. And then I don't. To be perfectly honest, anything anybody does, I do not give a shit. All I do is I speak, and either I make sense and people listen, or I just talk gibberish and people should just do the exact opposite of what I'm saying. And I honestly do not give a fuck, because it doesn't change my life one bit. I just do what I got to do for myself, and what happens I don't give a rat's ass. It's a sad reality.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to say one thing: Canada's going to paper over any problems. Like,
They're
Canada,
gonna try for sure. Yeah.
We have what, $400 billion that's being spent. Like,
budget. Yeah.
There's a lot of questions, not many answers, but they could do this for quite a while before things really go. And even the Canadian dollar is sitting at 73 cents last I saw, at a time when Bank of Canada is lowering rates. The Canadian dollar is still holding its own, even climbing against the USD. Like, there's a lot of like, what the fuck is going on here? I don't understand.
Just wait, buddy. Everyone.
I am. That's what I'm doing. I just put in my time and do my thing, and when time comes, execute. That's it.
We're out of here. I'll see you guys on Wednesday with Mike, and until then, start stacking. Take care of yourselves.
Don't be a cock.